Welcome to this episode of Misadventures.
The title alone is a misadventure.
Misadventure with
Kiki
and Cowboy. We have both bit our tongue. Would be gross. You want to gross them out? We bit each other's tongue.
Gross,
Everyone's like,
no,
you bit my tongue, I bit your tongue.
That's disgusting.
It's like a chocolate and peanut butter thing. Your chocolate's in my peanut butter. You bit my tongue, I bite your tongue. So yeah, here we are, everybody. New episode, new topics, and I believe Kiki
revisiting new topics, revisiting old topics.
Yeah, yes. The new topic is revisiting old topics. It's either that or we sing in harmony.
Oh, yeah.
So I think everybody's okay with the
I'm pretty
old
sure.
Topics.
Yeah.
Well, I think the old topic is one that can age well. I believe, I'm thinking not like fine wine, but everybody prepare yourselves. I think we're going to talk about tortoises and talk about aging well. They live to be about 100 years old.
Oh yeah, okay.
In
that
case,
it will be multiple
generations.
Topics. Yes, over and over again.
Yes, if this, in theory, let's say this podcast lasts the next 25 years. It'd be like
the tortoises will still be in their infancy.
They'll be in their youth, and I'll be like, "Welcome to this episode of Misadventures
with yet more tortoise talk."
This is episode 349, specifically
3,400.
Specifically about tortoises. We used to talk about motorcycles, and you'll be like, "Cowboy, you need to take your medicine." That's my voice for you. In the future. I'm projecting that's Kiki's voice. Now, Cowboy.
I think you'll have to do it as if, my dentures had fallen out or something.
That was like
that's what it sounded like
earlier.
already. That's how we were talking earlier.
Yeah, so we take our dentures out.
It's a preview.
Yeah. So it sounds like this. It'd be like, welcome to the Misadventures with
Kiki
and Cowboy. I think if we have an audience, if you're out there listening, I think you understand this. That
we're insane.
Well, we mostly do this show for us. If you're along for the ride, bless
great.
You, bless your heart. You're in for a really weird. There's so many episodes by now, and at some point we'll hit 100, and then after that we'll hit hundreds.
And then it'll just be downhill from there, if it were ever uphill.
I feel like we're pretty much downhill. Yeah, if we ever started uphill,
I don't even know that that's possible.
I don't. It feels like what's it? Ephesus, the one that's pushing the rock uphill the whole time. That's the.
I think we're like trying to keep the boulder from rolling down the hill on top of us.
Just stop it.
That's all we're trying to do.
Try to stop the boulder.
Yes,
that's really what we're trying to do.
Yes. Well, I thought we could regale our audience with a few of the misadventures as of late of our tortoises, because most people have dogs or cats or ordinary pets, and so they're used to kind of the usual stuff. But there's a few things that when you own a tortoise, we
all agree it owns us.
You have to be prepared
for a lot of different things that a normal, sane animal that is not reptilian would do. And so I think we don't know what's going to happen from day to day. I mean, it could not be more.
Let's put it this way:
there's so much. They're low maintenance, except
like the summer season till about now.
Yes,
you have come home on more than one occasion. I would say at least 3 and possibly 5.
And usually I'll go straight to the back door and take a peek at what they're doing.
And have come home from being at the office or wherever you were working.
Whatever I'm out there doing.
And there's usually these words uttered, "Oh, shit."
Yeah, and I literally. So I have some backyard boots, little cowboy boots that I switch into for the backyard, and I cannot get those things on fast enough.
So okay, I'm gonna start with the low grade stuff.
Low grade, okay.
And then we're gonna work our way
into
low grade
tortoise misadventure.
The finale
At least for now.
The pièce de résistance.
The finale.
Yes, the finale.
Yeah, the later. Yeah, but finale. Most recent finale.
So the easy stuff. So there's 5 things I have written down.
Only 5. Yeah.
Just since the last time we talked about the tortoises.
They're incidents. The 5 incidents. Okay, let's start with.
So
hold on. Let me see if I have like a. I think
so
I have a
maybe
drum
this
roll
is
on
like
here
this is like a number 5. We'll go in order from 5 to 1 as we gain intensity, right?
5 to 1. Okay, we need a specific sound effect. Let's go. Well, it can't be. Let's just use the harp. Here we go.
The harp.
Rim shot. Okay.
There you go.
All right.
Number
so
5.
Number 5. Go.
Is when your tortoise decides to redecorate.
Yes. That's
so,
a good one.
Dot, our larger tortoise.
She's about 70 pounds. She's about 20 pounds greater than Dash.
So they live presently in Rubbermaid sheds that you have equipped
sizable,
and outfitted, right?
Yep.
They're the kind of shed that has a double door in the front with
that
a
opens
lid
up the whole front, basically.
that closes over the top and locks, right?
That attaches to the two
and
doors.
You have, and we talked about this in a previous episode, you were having to widen Dot's door, and that is because she's decided to redecorate.
So we agree that tortoises do not like to back up. They don't really like to turn around.
Yes.
And so what Kiki noticed, and then I noticed is just a couple of occasions this happened, where Dot there was an adequate door cut into one of the 2 opening doors that she could easily get in and out of, and it has that plastic like a
little curtain, kind of like almost like you'd have in a freezer, like a walk-in freezer.
So she's got 2 layers of that, so she can get in and out and she can see through it. She had chosen, as Kiki was describing, to just push hard enough to basically push.
Well, she didn't realign herself to the door. She just decided to come in at an angle or actually exit from an angle.
At an angle, and I think she got stuck, and instead of straightening out to easily go out, she just kept pushing and kept pushing.
Yes.
And her body's long enough and she's strong enough that I think she was able to push off the back wall.
I think she just
push on the door,
plain old push.
And just brute force.
So what's happened is, this has happened more than once in the summer season.
Several times.
That she has decided to destroy. And by destroy, I actually mean the roof was ripped off.
Because it's attached to that one door that's not supposed to open and doesn't have a hole. She managed to push that open, and the lock is there's a thing that goes through the roof.
Yes.
And she was able to push that so hard it pulled the roof
right
off its hinges.
The hinge.
And just pushed everything open, wide open.
So we come out and the doors are flailed open.
The roof is falling off.
Like the whole thing looks like it's in disarray and like
chaos.
A bomb has gone off.
Yeah. It's like, what the hell?
Yes. She has not since. I did have to champion for the
Kiki
curvy
had to
girls
remind me
of
repeatedly.
The world.
Yes, that the girthy girl need a bigger
door.
bigger door. So I went out there, and if you listen to, I think it's a few episodes ago where I cut the cord on the circular saw. So I still haven't repaired that, but I did get the sawhorses out. I got the door out. I used the circular saw. The last cut I made, which was, I guess it would have been the last cut either way.
Anyway.
But luckily, it was the cut that did the job. And then I pulled back just a little bit, and I somehow had thrown the cord in there, and the cord got cut. But now I added, I want to say, about 3.5 inches of width to her door.
It's considerable, actually. I was looking out there at poor Dash. And Dash's door is like almost half the size, the entry spot now of hers,
and he's still fine with it.
He's totally fine.
Because he fits. He fits.
He has no problem with
she's
it.
notably, she's heavier, but she's also wider.
So that was a couple of the oh shits in the morning as we woke up. Then here's number 2. So you want your little drum?
Yes. Here we go. Get ready. It's this
one. He has no idea where it is. I
almost hit this one. But here's the one.
Crickets. So there you go. Number 2 or 5. No. Number 4. Sorry, I can't count.
There you go.
Okay.
You got 3.
So another oh shit moment. Cowboy comes home.
So I think what everyone needs to recognize, one, we have a camera out there that apparently nobody checks, but two, including myself.
Nobody checks.
But I like how Kiki's story is Cowboy comes home to recognize the problem. Three other people
live here, including myself. None of us have paid any attention to anything that's going on outside.
And let's be honest,
Cowboy.
The tortoises are not really anybody's
comes home
priority.
And he's all excited to see his tortoise, right?
I
hear some kind of commotion and then out the door.
The door he goes.
And so I, of course, run out the door as well, and only to find that this time Dot has located and found her way into the middle of our hose roller. So it's one of those portable Rubbermaid. It has wheels. You would wind your garden hose on it.
Yes.
And then, you leave it attached to the spigot, right? And then you would roll it out wherever you want to have a hose, use it and then roll it back in.
And it's
right?
all plastic except for a couple little metal pieces.
Yeah, so it's not any big deal, except that when we came out, she was
halfway through the thing.
She was halfway through.
The stand is it has these openings. That she had somehow gotten herself the feet, yeah, and there's bars that go across the bottom, and they're plastic, but they're that heavy duty Rubbermaid type plastic, and she's literally stuck halfway through the thing.
And you're like, how are you
and
gonna get
on her side?
Yes, on her side, she wasn't.
It was
she
mayhem.
She wasn't completely tipped over, but she
had
was
a 45-degree angle. She's
she's just.
And all she was doing, and clearly had been doing for however long she'd been in that.
But
thing,
who knows how
was
long
just pushing
she's
through
been
it.
Doing that?
I'm gonna keep pushing.
And then the worst part is you're like, how are you going to get her out of it?
Yeah, especially because she doesn't want to be backed out of it.
No,
you
she
can't
doesn't want to go backwards.
Just push her face, She does not want to go backwards, and they are very strong.
Yes,
especially if one leg is pushing against you. That's those legs are strong. Just because how much muscle's in there to lift that dang thing off the ground. So it took me a hot minute, and what I had to do.
I don't even know. I came out at one point, and you actually had her perpendicular to the ground, nose up to the ceiling, and
Yep.
I was like, "What are you doing?"
I had to flip the thing over and actually break the whole
shake her out of it.
Of the two wheel sets or whatever axles. I had to break that second one, just break it open.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, because there was no way.
Because I don't know how you would get her out.
Yeah, and that's the trick is I had to position her in such a way that I could kind of yank at and kind of hammer at the back axle thing, the wheel set, without harming her.
Right.
I had to get it open and make sure it wouldn't snap back. But. Of course, her body was holding that to a certain way, but yeah, it took me a lot of effort to get her free of that thing.
It did take you a lot of effort to get her out of that thing.
And now I just realized,
how on earth did she get into it to begin with?
Should I feel stupid right now? I do. It's still out there though.
Uh-huh.
It's still within her reach.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I probably should throw that thing away.
That's probably,
is it on top of something at least?
No, that's probably my doing because you asked me to do something with it, and I just tucked it in the corner.
Okay, let's make a note, and I'll, in the show notes and the comments, every 6 months or so, will y'all please remind me to throw away the hose roller. At some point, I'll throw that thing away, or it'll it's gonna be part of another episode.
Yes. Oh, it will.
Yeah.
Okay, so number 3. So we have. In order for the tort houses to be adequately insulated for the winter months particularly,
yep,
you have them equipped with pig blankets. So
yep.
If anybody knows what that is, those are kind of hard, waterproof mats that are used for baby pigs, honestly.
These are solid. They're like solid plastic, and I want to say
but they have a
almost,
heating element in them.
Built into them. They're like 2 feet by 2 feet square.
That you
can bolt to the floor.
Bolted to the floor of this Rubbermaid
so
shed
it's part of the floor.
for each tortoise has half of their shed is this heated blanket on the wall and then on the
floor.
On the floor.
So if they push against one wall, they have it coming from below
Yes.
and to one from
And
one
so they
side.
have some radiant heat.
It's about 95
you
degrees.
also have in there, you made some makeshift shelves
Yep.
that are about halfway up the height of, because these sheds are a little bit,
They're 4 feet tall.
they're about 4 feet tall,
Yeah,
and they really only need about like 2 feet.
Yeah, about 2
worth.
feet up. There's a little indentations where I was able to.
Yeah.
I cut some wood and
You
put
cut some
shelving
wood
in there.
and made
it's made to have a shelf.
makeshift shelf, right?
Yeah,
because well, and it also traps the heat
Yep.
for them,
I
right?
have
And then
insulation
and then we can
heat
add
lamps
some
and
stuff,
lights and
whatever
stuff,
we
yeah.
need to keep,
I have a
on top of
thermostat
that
in there
little.
for the heat. Yeah.
Yeah, so you have a thermostat in there. You have a heat lamps.
Yep.
For reptiles
Hanging
in
down
there.
heat lamps. Yeah.
And then you also have UV lamps
Yep.
because in the winter months,
UVB.
when they do not come out of their houses or that often, because Dot will come out, but Dash doesn't always. You have the UV lamp because they need to have that for their shell to properly form. Like they need to have UV.
Just like plants need sun, the tortoises need that too.
So they need that. So
to stay healthy.
All of that said, we have all of that. Now, our yard is not like that big, but it is. I mean, our house is on 1/3 of an acre, so we have one of the larger backyards in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Our the housing for the tortoises is on the back fence.
It's about 60 feet back there.
Yeah.
If you measure those boards that we put
About
in.
there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and that's not as far away to the farthest point.
No, the furthest point is about 100 feet back.
Yeah.
there.
So about 60 feet away. But this requires that we have heavy duty extension cables running all the way
down the
across
fence,
the tortoise
the
fence.
tortoise fence, yeah.
And then
Which is
to our house. And so what you've had to do is join together some extremely long extension cords because you've got all of that electronics out there. And would you tell everybody what you have done to waterproof the connections?
Well, it's this simple, everybody. Saran wrap. Yep, because I didn't want water getting in the connections. I was like, what's the easiest and cheapest thing? So I just went out there with some Reynolds wrap, so saran wrap, the plastic wrap, and just wrote it, put it around there 3 or 4 times, kind of seal it up together. For the most part, it just has to keep. We've had this happen, and this is why I did this.
This is why I have this listed.
The sprinklers in the rain, when I didn't have that on there, would of course spray the connections of where the extension cords are connected, and of course there'd be a short. I'd have to reset the GFI, but the first time it happened,
yes,
the GFI, the same thing that's powering the tortoise huts, is also powering our garage refrigerator.
Yes, and
So
we were out
away.
of town
Yes,
for that.
We didn't know what was on
And
there.
well, and also this is odd.
Did we lose food that time?
Oh yeah, we lost the entire refrigerator
several
of
days.
food.
Several days of food went bad.
But in
Several
addition,
days of food.
we still haven't figured this quite out, but our garage is not a rear entry garage. It's a front entry garage on the absolute opposite side of where the outlet is.
Yep.
That the tortoise's
So the electrician
extension cord is.
Yeah. So on the breaker, the electrician did our garage and the opposite side of the house, which is the back of the house, on the same breaker.
On the same breaker.
They don't make sense at all. There's no reason those two should.
So the
At some
first
point, I
time
think
it
we'll add a
happened,
breaker
we were running around the house frantically trying to figure out, because I think it was quite cold outside, and we were
cold.
really worried about the tortoises. And so we were flipping every switch. In fact, it's not the breaker panel box.
It was the GFI.
It's the GFI,
Which is only
on the wall of the
in
garage,
the garage, yes,
in
which
this
was
obscure place that
hard
we
to find.
didn't even. I mean, it's easy to get to, but you just have to know that you're looking for it.
Yep.
And of course, so now we know anytime the refrigerator
put some fail
light
safes.
bulb goes out,
Yep.
and we have a light bulb in the garage plugged straight into that particular outlet, just so that if the light goes out, we know
And
that
also,
something's tripped.
yeah, and I also the extension cords that I have both connected to the refrigerator in the garage and the ones running back to the tortoises, they're the type of extension cords that at their connections they have lights. So it's real easy to see
if the lights go out.
If any of those lights are out, if any of them are out, they're all out. And so there's indicators. Basically, if you're at this part of the house, you can tell. If you go through the garage, you can definitely tell because the garage lights out, and then the fridge lights out. And and then Cowboy was almost spilling his drink. Nope, no spillage. Kiki pointed that my drink had fallen over.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, so that was interesting and fun. And
it was.
And saran wrap.
Okay,
everybody.
so now we're working up to number 2 of the Tortoise Misadventures.
All right.
This one's a little more recent, and it was definitely an oh shit moment.
Yes.
So Cowboy was not home. Kiki was 5 minutes frantically getting lunch prepared 5 minutes before a meeting. And I look out the back window, and so the 2 tort houses sit side by side, but as you guys know, we have a wall that separates them.
Yep.
But there's a little gap between the 2 houses. They're not butted straight up next to each other.
They were a foot apart.
Yeah.
So the fence in between them had a little bit of play.
Well, hold on. I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet.
Thunder stolen.
Yes, thunder stolen. So I'm just explaining what I saw. So I see Dot head first into the space between the 2 tortoise houses on her side of the fence.
Which was not normal.
And that's not normal because the only thing that she's facing is the fence. Like, it's literally, I mean, the houses are butted right up next to the fence. So she's face into the fence. Mm-hmm. And this is odd because now they do walk around. Obviously she got into the hose roller. So this was right after the hose roller, like shortly after the hose roller. So I was rolling my eyes because I was like, seriously, what are you like they are very inquisitive.
Yes.
And so when you go out there and mess around with their houses or do any of that kind of stuff, they're usually right underfoot, trying to see what you're doing and getting in the middle of it.
Curious.
So I just looked and was like, oh man, she's getting into something, like looking around. And I honestly thought she was stuck and she couldn't back out. Because again, if we haven't said it a million times, tortoises don't back up.
They don't like to back up at all.
So I am thinking, like, shit, I've got to get on this call, and now I've got to go out there and try to unwedge her from the space that she's in. And right about that second, Cowboy comes home, and I go, oh, thank God. And he's, he sees her out there, and he's like, oh, I'll go take care of her. What I didn't know,
and I discovered once I got out there,
which is big drum roll reveal.
So because there was some wiggle room and some space, Dash had gotten around between the fence, the big fence, the wall, and the little fence that separates tortoises. He had gotten himself around that, and then was confronted by Dot, who pinned him in that space. Like they were. I walked back there, and I was like, "That's weird," because the little fence had been moved, and then I saw Dot was literally pressing Dash. Like he had nowhere to go. She had him backed into the fence. On his right was her house. On his left was the tortoise fence.
There's no place for him to go.
And he was
they are head to head.
They are head to head, and she's like, "You're not going anywhere, buddy."
She just has him completely.
She literally just pressed him, and then probably sat down, and she's like, "You're not going anywhere." And I had to pull so hard to get her unlocked from him because their shells are kind of curly and they kind of stick in a way, And they were, and she wasn't. She was defending her territory, so I had to pull her way back, pick him up, put him over the fence, and then I had to physically, that little gap in between there, gone now. But their houses are literally, right up against that little fence. There's no wiggle room at all.
There's no wiggle room at all.
That space is gone.
We've taken away any curiosity space.
Hindsight is like, why did I even have a space there? I don't know why.
I have no idea.
It makes no sense that I had a space
have no
there.
idea.
But we do know it's kind of like if anybody's listening, if you have a toddler, they're going to get into everything. That's really what these tortoises are out there.
That's
They're
exactly
toddlers.
it.
They're going to get into anything. If it's below, if they can reach it with their, like toddlers, if they can reach up and grab it or whatever, they're going to get underneath everything, up in this stuff. Dash was literally on his back legs, leaning against the tort fence. Like he was trying to get.
Yeah,
to
you've
Dot.
made the tort fence now 2 boards high.
Yeah. It's
widthwise, right? And we have the wider boards.
These are 2x12s.
Yeah, 2x12
stacked on top of each other.
Stacked on top,
with
so
support.
vertically, right? So yeah.
And it has to be that.
So
tall.
they're like 24 inches.
Yeah.
This little fence is like 24 inches.
And it's
but
it's heavy.
It's held together by cinder blocks, but
He was still like up,
he's up on
he
his
was trying to peek
vertical,
over.
trying to peek over the top of the fence.
They're aware each other are there, and that's the problem.
Yes, that's the problem.
One
for
being
sure.
aware, because tortoises, if they can see through something, they want to go through it, and if they can see another tortoise or something of interest, they want to go to there. And so I think so that was resolved, and I made some changes, except for.
So hold on, wait. So
I was
trying
to tee up the grand finale.
Well, no.
We're
I
not
know,
there
but but there's a part B to that story.
Ooh, part B,
which is, Cowboy went away like right after that incident.
Yeah, I went on my trip. Yeah,
he went away for the weekend, to go on a motorcycle trip, and Dot very kindly rearranged her house again.
Oh yes, right.
While you were just about to get out the door.
Is after I fixed the door.
Yes.
Her door.
Yes. She decided to rearrange, I think. And so anyway, I thought, because one thing we had talked about was that their beaks can overgrow. And they need to have almost like, birds need to have like a little sharpening stone, to keep.
It's like fingernails. I mean,
they're kind of keep it from overgrowing,
per
right?
se. It's just their lip is actually like made out of the hard stuff, right?
Yeah.
So they need to be able to grind it down on something.
I thought I would be a good tortoise
parent,
mom,
owner,
and I would drag one of the unused cinder blocks that's in our backyard out near the tort house. And I would bring it up close to the dog fence so that when I fed Dot her little compressed pellets of hay or whatnot that she likes to eat, those little tort nuggets that we call them.
Little nutrition.
I could put it on the cinder block instead of on the ground, and then that would just naturally help, her keep her beak from getting overgrown, right? So I put on a pair of your work gloves and I put on your boots, and I go out there and I heft up and I tilt up the cinder block, and I see kind of cobwebby
something in there
stuff, like just cobweb kind of stuff at first, and at first, and I had work gloves, so I wasn't being real squeamish, and so I kind of put my fingers in the holes, not deeply, but put my fingers in the hole of the cinder block to just kind of position it so I could pick it up. And then I thought, I'm not going to like carry it all the way across the yard with my hands in there. I don't know actually what's in there. So I picked it up by the edges and I, carry it back. And as I'm putting it down, and laying it down on the ground for Dot down by the dog fence, I notice this, I'm going to call it what appears to be a cut electrical cord wire. I'm going to call it that for a moment. Dangling out of
one of the holes.
And I'm like, that's odd. That's a curiosity.
Yeah.
And then there's something in my head that was like, don't look closer.
Don't investigate further.
Don't investigate.
You don't want to know. You don't want to know what's in there.
You're just going to let yourself believe that that's some kind of electric wire that is there.
Non-living item.
Honestly, it could be a rat's tail. And I'm assuming that the rat is no longer alive. right?
Did I
You
tell
have
you
not.
when I found
You have
out?
not
Okay.
told me.
I
The
did,
other
I
option.
did investigate. I did.
Yeah, you.
I'm not
So
telling you until you continue.
so
finish
the
it.
other option I think is, and this is a story we have not told, I don't think, ever before here. And in fact, we swore that we weren't going to tell the children who were living in the house.
Yes.
So when we first moved in, no, not even first. It was like we were in the house a year because
Yeah,
we've been in the house now 2 years. We've been in the house about a year, and one evening, and I don't even know if it was summer or what. Maybe it was about this time of year. Cowboy opens the back door to and it's dark outside, but he opens the back door to the backyard, and as soon as he opens the door, these two giant spider legs
And I had just barely opened the door.
inside
They
the
came
door
right
frame.
inside, and they were at eye level. Everybody. And I'm
And,
just,
and Cowboy immediately goes, and slams the
easiest
door.
thing to do is shut the door.
Just slams the door.
And what happens? Two spider legs
Two
fall to
spider
the
legs
ground.
fall to the ground.
And I'm
then
like, huh.
and then he opens it up real quick again.
I can't tell you why I did that.
And
I can't tell you why I would have thought to open it again.
I'm sitting frozen on the couch, right where I'm sitting right now, like 2 feet away from the door.
I've pissed this
And
animal
I'm
off.
just
Let's
like,
see it again.
oh my God. And so what happens? He opens the door and it comes in
further. Yep.
Like he slams the door and cuts
A second time.
it in half. The
Yep.
body.
Yep. The front half of the body falls down.
Giant
Full on tarantula.
tarantula.
Yeah,
Now,
it's a big boy.
I will say, I know that generally tarantulas
Pretty much harmless.
are pretty harmless.
Yep.
I hate to say that I am the stereotypical girl, but I really don't like spiders. However, I like in a pet store,
Yep.
I'm okay with a tarantula in his little terrarium.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I could, but I'd like to think that I could, if there was a pet tarantula and somebody put it on my hand, I could sit there frozen for a minute
and not move.
and
It'll be over soon.
and just be like, I can't handle it.
Yeah, that's great. Take it off of me.
Take it off.
Anytime
Right?
now, anytime.
I think I could do that. If that tarantula had made it in this house, it would have been fucking chaos.
Burn.
Chaos.
Burn
I
it all
mean,
down.
running everywhere, like throwing stuff, dogs barking. I can't even, like, screaming.
Yep.
Chaos. So I tell that story only to say it did occur to me that the thing that was sticking out was about the size
A tarantula leg.
of a tarantula leg that would have been a big
Would
tarantula.
have been a big one.
And I was like, that could have been a tarantula nest in there, because that's maybe what that was.
Where
And
its babies
so
are.
so I told Cowboy, I was like, I laid it down, I didn't touch it again, and I was like, I can't. I can't even imagine what that was.
So
I don't even know if I want to know.
So you want to know? So I investigated. I went out there and I was just like, okay, let's just see what this is.
Oh my God.
Flipped it on its
Please
side.
tell me it was dead. Whatever it was, first tell me it was dead.
Flipped it on its side.
Tell me it was dead.
Looked, got as close as I was willing.
I'm dying.
And it was a dead rat.
Oh, thank God.
And it was so dead that it was just a skeleton.
Oh, thank God.
And it was just wrapped up in, like you said,
You know
it's
what
just
ate that?
debris, a tarantula.
A tarantula.
No, but there's
That
like,
means that there's a
there's
tarantula.
nothing. I'll tell you now.
I mean, and I did say that to Cowboy.
there's
when-
nothing living in there now.
When that there wasn't anything living in
No,
there
it
then.
was dead. Yeah, it was the
Um,
tail of a dead rat.
So I told you I thought it was a
It
rat's
wasn't a
tail.
very big one either, but I freed it of that
Yeah.
sarcophagus
But I did tell
and
Cowboy
just threw it way out in the yard.
when he killed the tarantula by cutting it in half, I was like, where there's one tarantula,
Yeah, we're in Texas.
I mean, we know, right? And I'm not like
I've
we have
called
to
him out
burn
to
the
you.
house down.
we were out on the motorcycle on
Yes,
the highway one time,
yes, and I mean, I've seen
I could
them-
see it crossing the road in
Yes.
front of us.
And in my mind,
The only problem is they jump.
yes.
Just kidding.
Yes, they do. I know they do.
We rode right over and it's with us now. We would both die. You would flail like crazy, and I'd be like, ah!
I can't even imagine.
Death by a harmless spider.
In theory, I'm fine with the fact that they're out there. Like that,
we have
I
a
know
rule.
that they exist.
Spiders, they're perfectly fine outside.
But
this is not their home.
But
if they're in here, they will likely be killed.
So, anyway.
Yes.
Okay.
And we also our pact was that we wouldn't. We wouldn't tell our kids.
Yeah. No, they might hear us telling that right now, but
they don't need to know that a spider could just walk its ass in here.
I'm telling you, that was a big motherfucker. It was like what? The palm of your hand?
I'm holding.
I mean, not
hand.
the body. The body wasn't the palm of your hand.
Easily the palm of my hand. Oh yeah.
No, the body?
No, not the body.
Oh Jesus! You just
because
oh
it
my
stands
God!
kind of like with its legs bent.
Yes.
It would have fit right here.
Yeah.
But no, not the body. Oh my God!
So that makes him
not
like
some South American
that makes him
spider.
like a silver dollar size.
Yeah.
Right, body.
Yeah.
Silver dollar size, which was what I was expecting.
Just standing, he would fit in the palm of my hand. Just like that.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Or
it was terrifying.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Only terrifying because it was trying to enter our house.
In the house.
That was the only part.
It was confused.
Yeah.
I regularly now, when I open that door, I open it slow.
I don't. I forget every time.
I'll sometimes look around the threshold like I'm about to jump out of an airplane. Just kind of let's check the threshold to make sure my parachute won't get stuck on anything. Just make sure.
Thank God, you were the person opening the door that day, because had I opened it, I wouldn't have closed it on it. I would have ran away.
Yeah,
and then it would have come in.
I would have to deal with it anyway. Me or the dogs. Me and the dogs.
You know what's also sad, though, is, and I've said this to you before, so the first year that we lived in this house, I was quite delighted that we had a little toad family that lived right outside of our back door because of the
patio.
The patio light.
Yep.
And there's a little carve out underneath the cement part of the patio and the house. There's just this little space, and this little toad would live there. And then at night in the summer times, the little toad would come out and visit and just sit outside and whatnot. And I just thought it was the sweetest thing. Ever since seeing that tarantula, I have not seen that toad again.
At all. Yeah.
And that makes me sad.
Yeah.
I think the toad's gone.
The tarantula might have gotten it.
It might have.
Yeah. Or, I hate to say it, the toad moved on because of the dogs. The dogs might have been harassing the toad too.
I've never really seen that happen though.
But the toad might have just moved.
Because honestly, I grew up with like in Arizona and California, there was toads.
And the dogs didn't seem to care about them.
Oh well, they would, except the toads usually excrete like a slime on their back that just makes the dogs' mouths foam. Yeah. So the toads don't usually care about the dogs in the slightest. Yeah. And the dogs will learn real quick to just leave them alone because it's basically just sour, awful, gross. Right? And they just are like, foaming at the mouth.
Don't want to lick that again.
So it's usually not the toad that leaves, at least in my
But you're
experience.
Right. We have not seen the toads
I have
at all.
not seen the poor little toad family at all.
Spider might have moved in.
So, and maybe the spider's living there.
The whole spider family lives there now.
Oh, no, don't say that to me. I can't handle that. Okay, let's move on. Last pièce de résistance. Number 1. And this is the most recent.
Very recent.
Oh shit moment.
Like a couple of days ago. Yeah.
This is another Kiki fail
Cowboy comes home.
I've been home all day.
But in your defense,
hours.
They were right up. All of these activities, the shenanigans that took place, happened right up against the house.
Let's just be
not
real.
Easy to see.
I did not check on them. You, of course, are so diligent. You come home.
Well,
You almost always go check on the tortoises before you even say hello to me.
Pretty much, yes. I just go.
Like you just make a beeline.
I just got to make sure they're still in
the
backyard.
So again, I hear I think this time it was oh fuck.
Yeah. Oh, fuck.
Fuck.
Yeah, it was bad.
And I was like, ah! So come running out. And would you like to say what has happened?
So if we may describe, so when you step out on our back porch, it's surrounded, a few feet out in every direction. We have a dog run that's this little, it's a little fence. It's a metal fence that has like 1-inch by 3-inch spacers that it's, that you can see through it and the dogs can see through it. It's about 2 feet tall, not quite. And
it's a little
it's a dog
portable
yeah.
metal fence.
Movable metal fence
that has these little stakes that anchor into
that go down a few inches
into the grass, but it only goes in.
And each pane, there's like these
it's
sections.
Like 18 inches.
The sections are about 18 inches.
And maybe 2 feet high.
And we have like 30 or 40 of those.
Yeah.
They go all the way around. And
they
make
just
this
go
big
around,
rectangle, and they meet up with the tortoise fence about 10 feet out from the porch.
So the dogs can see through, as can the tortoises.
Yep.
Right? So
Dot apparently
Cowboy was saying was a problem.
If they can see through it, they want to go through it. Well, Dot had figured out somehow on her side, she pushed. What had happened? It had rained heavily for a couple days. So the ground was soft. So the spikes going in and holding the fence were apparently weak because the ground was weak. So Dot had pushed her way through her side.
Well, okay, now in Dot's defense, somebody sitting right here with us, Cowboy.
Oh, I pointed at one of our dogs.
Regularly takes the walls down
and moves them about.
And lets Dot come into
I stopped doing that for the most part.
The dog area because the grass is nice and green.
And fertilized by the dogs daily.
And so she gets to have a treat.
She's learned that's
so she knows that's where the good food
the good
is.
Now to satiate her, I'll move the fence in and out a little bit so she'll get some fresh green here and there.
Right.
And everybody listening, there's lots of grass in the yard. She can eat.
Much grass.
She can eat grass all.
That's all our backyard
is. She
is.
just wants what she.
She just wants the particularly green, like you said, fertilized.
The flavored grass.
The flavored grass.
Yeah, the seasoned, if you will. But anyway, it's so disgusting. But she had made her way through, probably eating a bunch of dog poop. And then
I think the dog poop was all gone.
Yeah,
she
there
definitely ate all of that.
I was glad to see some dog poop there. God, it was so gross. But she sees those as apparently treats. But then
proceeded.
She made her way over to where Dash is. He's on the other side of the fence. They clearly saw each other, and they made because they're on both sides of this thin little wired fence. They pushed long enough that what I saw.
Wish you all could see a picture of this fence panel.
Half of it is just completely pushed out and damaged.
It is just ripped apart.
They pushed through it,
right through it.
She came,
just bulldozed right through
and they have little wire scratches on their shells. They're real minor, thank goodness. But and I checked them for injury and they're fine. But essentially But
by the time you got out there, what did you see?
What I saw was there was a mud pit where they had clearly. Think like two rhinoceroses just butting heads and their hind legs just pushing and them just working in a circle and circle and circle because they're tearing up the ground as they keep pushing.
It was all of the grass had just been torn up into mud.
There was a mud pit over there, and then she was sitting next to Dash, who was flipped over. She had flipped him over, and she had no qualms about.
She just sat there
and was just watching him writhe.
His poor little legs were like all over. Yeah. We have no idea how long he was upside down.
It could have been an hour.
It could have been hours. It could have just happened 5 minutes ago. No idea. And I know we have a camera back there.
But it's not like it's running video all the time.
It's not.
Yeah, we don't have a server.
We don't have a server attached to it. So,
and I told Kiki this. I was like,
I
don't know that I'd want to watch 2 hours of footage of him just writhing.
I felt really terrible because I was like, oh my God.
But
so then you're in the circumstance of how on earth
busted fence.
How on earth do you get them apart?
Yep.
Because as soon as you needed to flip him back.
Yep.
Because it's not good for them to be on their back. It's very uncomfortable.
Luckily, it wasn't super sunny, and he wasn't like he was drying out.
No, he was okay. Yeah. But you flip him over, and now you've got to deal with two tortoises that don't like each other.
Yep.
And you're like, how do I get her back on the other side?
Yep.
And then all of the dog fences all torn up.
And Kiki knows this with my history of back problems. She's always nervous about me picking up anything.
Yeah.
Luckily, we've been exercising. We've been in the gym a bunch. So I just picked her heft up all easily 70 pounds of her. She's not easy to carry. I had to pick her up and carry her sideways.
Out from you, too.
Out from me, and I didn't want her to pee on. Yeah, because her legs are kicking out. She's not enjoying being.
No, she does not like to be picked up.
They do not like to fly. They
No.
do not like to be off the ground more than a few inches. So then I carried her, climbed over the 2-foot big tort fence, set her down, made sure he was okay. And
Thankfully, Dash walked off in the
he
other
went
direction.
the other direction.
I think he had learned
he
his
had
lesson
enough
for
of-
the
Yeah,
day.
he didn't want to see Dot again.
And unfortunately, he's a slow learner.
Yeah,
So
yeah. And he went up to the top of the
I mean-
yard and just sat there for about 3 hours.
Yeah, he
was
probably
like,
did.
He was
He
probably
was-
exhausted. Yeah. And they both had a couple little, like basically their broken fingernails, if you will. They have a lot of these little spikes, and they both had a
they're
couple.
like their digging claws.
Yeah,
right?
they from all that mud thing that mud beetle they had.
Yeah.
They were. But it's
can-
just like the pink
I
underneath
can't
your
even.
fingernail.
Yeah, so it wasn't bleeding.
They
it
weren't
was
bleeding.
just.
It was just pink.
It was just
Yeah.
baby skin
They lost-
underneath.
Yeah, so they're and they 3 days later they're not worse for wear. But yeah, we're working on solutions to not
So,
let them.
Our Thanksgiving,
Yeah,
or at least the front part of our Thanksgiving, is going to be spent redesigning
the fence layout.
the fence situation.
Yeah, to air quote, I can't use the word proof to add a layer of prevention to future engagements because right now she is bigger than him, but there will be a point that he's bigger than her.
I doubt it.
Well, he's a male. I mean, males statistically.
I don't know when, because the guy doesn't like to eat.
But-
She eats all the time.
But
I
they're
think
only
she's
5.
just gonna.
They don't really hit maturity until about 15, so we got
Yeah.
10 more years of
Oh,
good
good.
growth. Yeah.
That's great.
So the fence will definitely have to be around.
I'm so
But the
excited.
last thing Kiki and I want is we don't want it to get to a place where he does
don't-
overpower her.
I don't want babies.
And we do not want her pregnant because one encounter with these two tortoises, she can be pregnant for multiple clutches of 30 or 40 babies.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they can hold on to the clutch for
For
years,
the right time.
months.
Yeah, yeah.
So they can just all of a sudden,
Just
like months
suddenly
and
lay
months
eggs.
later,
Yep.
just lay eggs.
It's time to lay some eggs right now.
Right now, I'm hoping that she's not pregnant.
No, I doubt it.
Given the situation, it seems
It's
like
real clear that she
is not interested in
No
his
mating.
advances.
And he clearly doesn't have the power
no.
to do anything.
Subdue
about
her.
Yeah.
He
he's
does not. I think we need to keep it that way. I think we just need
I think
to. like-
Ghostbusters, Rick Moranis and Sigourney Weaver.
Yes.
When I'm definitely dating myself, but she she was the keymaster and she
Yes.
was the whatever, the gatekeeper. Oh my gosh, how do I remember this crap? But but she's like twice
This
his
is the most
size.
random, like-
it's just like that's really what it is. Is she's this all powerful giant and he's this meek little thing right now.
Yes.
But 10 years from now.
All right.
Yeah.
So everybody on the podcast, in 10 years from now, we're going to come back to this
Set your
podcast.
alarms.
And is Kiki wrong? In 10 years, is Dash going to be
I think
bigger?
at some point
I don't think so.
Well, okay, think about this. Think about like 6-year-old kids. 6-year-old girl, 6-year-old boy.
Yeah.
They're about the same size. For a while, she'll get bigger and pummel him until they hit like 18, 19, and then
All
things
right.
change. They
Fair
just
point.
do.
Fair
and then
point.
suddenly, okay, well now he's 2 feet taller, and you know what? Their hormones. I mean, they're still toddlers.
Yeah,
So
that's
yeah,
true.
And we've talked.
That is true.
So that's
that's
the
our.
current sit rep situation report. Is that what that is? For you
I have no
military
idea. I
people?
guess
That's
so.
the
Sure.
current situation with the torts.
Yes.
There will be more
Misadventures with tortoises.
misadventures.
Oh, I'm confident there will, and I'm just going to make a list.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
of-
yeah.
of things
she's
like
got
we
a Trello
did.
board for the tortoises, everybody.
So
Which makes sense. But next time we'll regale you with some things that we do. But for now, this is part of
I don't know. Isn't that
our-
all we do?
it is apparently.
But I am confident we'll have misadventures in the near future. It's just a matter of happening.
Can I tell you a bit of tortoise trivia?
Oh boy,
You know what they call a person who is like a herder of tortoises?
there's a herder.
There's a name for it. You know what they're called? A tortoise turner.
Oh,
And it makes sense. You're always turn the tortoise.
yes. Except that the tortoise turners, I'm pretty confident, don't pick up the tortoises.
No, they tap them on the butt and make them.
They have like a little cane,
yes,
right?
Yes, you have to have a little cane just to tap them on the butt.
And you just tap them. They do not like that, by
They
the way.
don't like it, and it does motivate them. In this case, there was no way I was going to tap her on the butt and get her to go all the way back through the way she had come.
I think you could have.
Yeah, I think I could have. But in the future, we're going to employ some wheelbarrows and pulley systems or something.
We're gonna have to figure
I'll have like a
something out.
trebuchet looking thing. Just
Okay, so
yeah,
by the way,
with a lever.
so anybody listening, if you have a tortoise trebuchet,
.com.
Or
I'll just create one. There's enough tortoise people out there. I'll just say, here's
a catapult for tortoises.
Yeah, it doesn't really it just
no.
all
You
need
just
is a
you
lever
dip it
with
down,
a thing
and then you pick them up, and you
pulleys,
just you swing it around,
rotate,
and then,
rotate. You need a counterweight, obviously.
Yeah.
You know.
Don't you dare suggest that to me.
Oh, you're not. Kiki, my dear, will you
were
be my
looking
counterweight?
straight at me.
I wasn't
Fuck
looking at you for
you.
Look at me getting accused. I talk about the motorcycle
I'm
performance
proactively
change
saying,
one time.
"Oh, fuck you." Yeah.
I was just trying to.
Babe, come over here and sit on this
wasn't
for a
flat,
second.
the
Just
bike
sit
was
here.
just performing differently.
Just sit here.
Yeah, babe, will you sit on this? She's like, "Fuck you." Get one of your spider cinder blocks. Maybe you sleep next to that tonight.
So terrible.
Anyway, this has been Misadventures.
Oh,
of Vec
so many.
with
Kiki
and Cowboy and
some tortoises.
We still have our teeth, so we're not gonna have to go through all that again. I just bit my tongue before I hit record. All right, love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Ka-chow!